All right, what up, folks? It's your man, 100 Days of Summer. In this video, what I want to do is share a technique that any man can use to make any woman have a vaginal orgasm. All right, now, this is actually a very simple thing. I wouldn't say it's easy. It is simple, though, once you understand how a woman's vagina actually works. And then when you understand that the penis is actually shaped to make women have orgasms, but we are using the penis incorrectly because the majority of us learn how to have sex through porn. Porn isn't about pleasing women. Porn is about creating a fantasy that men enjoy. So typically when you're simulating what you learn from porn, you're not really pleasing women, but they will pretend. Because I've had this conversation with women multiple times. They will pretend that they're being pleased because they're afraid to hurt your ego. And then when you leave, they'll grab their sex toy of choice and then make themselves have an orgasm, right? So that's something that I've learned. You may think that you're pleasing your woman because she hasn't said anything, but she may actually just be afraid to hurt your ego. So keep that in mind. They won't say it, so I'll say it for them. And just keep that in mind as we go forward. So it's very simple how to make women have a vaginal orgasm when you understand how the vagina actually works and what each part of the vagina is kind of for and how to stimulate each part in order to get that result. All right, so to break it down in simplest terms, the front of the vagina is for in and out motion. The back of the vagina is more for grinding motion, not necessarily pounding, but yes, thrusting, but more so like a grind, like a slow grind. In order for the back of the vagina to become receptive to thrust or stimulation, I guess you would say, in order for the back of the vagina to become receptive, you have to stimulate the front of the vagina for a long enough time. And then that causes the back of the vagina to become engorged with blood. Once it's engorged with blood, that's when it's able to be stimulated and bring a woman to orgasm. If you just rush in and try to just go straight to pounding, typically the woman will be uncomfortable, she won't lubricate, and but she'll never tell you, and then you go home and then she does what she does, right? So that's typically what happens. So the front of the vagina is where the G-spot is. People typically know about the G-spot. Everybody kind of knows about the G-spot. Some people don't know how to find it or stimulate it, but they know it exists. The thing that people don't know, most people, men and women, don't know about is the A-spot. The A-spot is located in the back of the vagina, closer to the cervix, right? But no one actually can say like where it is because I've researched, and everyone says we don't know the exact location, but we know that it's near the cervix. Well, I believe that I have actually located the exact spot. Like I can't necessarily tell you, I have to feel for it, but I can tell you what to feel for. Okay, so when someone is trying to stimulate the G-spot, you put your finger in about this far, just about an inch or two, they say, in there, you're basically feeling for a rough patch. So it'll be kind of smooth, and then you'll feel like a rough spot. And that's the G-spot, or the outer skin. The spot is like up in there, but that's like the outer skin. So that's how you know where it's at. That part forms like a band almost around it, right? And when you stimulate that spot correctly, that area swells up, right? The band kind of shrinks and you kind of feel it, right? It feels like I had a good analogy for this, but now I can't remember it. But you feel the band like tighten up around your finger, or your finger at the time, right? You feel it tighten up. So that's how you know you're doing it correctly. And then once it tightens up and it's engorged and it's filled with liquid, then you apply pressure, and that's what causes a woman to squirt or have a G-spot orgasm that way, right? It's very, very similar. The A-spot is a very similar feeling to the finger. So when you go in and you feel for the G-spot, like if you use your middle finger, you'll probably be able to feel both spots. So if you go in, you feel for the G-spot, right, which is about 2 inches in. If you go in further, for me, my fingers are this long, so I don't know, but around here, right? Once I got around this deep, I think it was, and you can feel the cervix too, because the cervix feels like a little nipple kind of in the back. It feels like a little tongue or something in the back there. You kind of feel that, and then you go up and you feel for that rough patch again. That rough patch is going to be another band around the back of the vagina. It's like a rough patch. You feel that part, and that's where the A-spot is. That's where you want to aim when you're having sex with the woman, right? the G spot and the A spot. You want to use the G spot to open up the A spot and then go to the A spot. Now, a man's penis is shaped to give a woman orgasm. It's just like I said earlier, we're using it wrong because we learned how to have sex through porn. So we're not doing the correct stroke or the correct technique, because the back of the vagina, the part that causes the full body back to back to back orgasms that drain the life out of a woman, that part doesn't take a lot of this. Doesn't take a lot of that. It's actually a pretty delicate motion, which is counterintuitive to what you know. So you see women in porn, the guy's pounding and she's like, oh, and she's screaming or whatever, but in actuality, the motion that causes the vaginal orgasm is not so intense, really. It's very delicate. So the penis is shaped to make a woman have a vaginal orgasm. It's shaped that way. The ridge around the head is the part that you pretty much use to make the contact with those parts that I said are like a band, right? So like I said, the G spot, you can feel it as like a rough patch. The A spot, you can feel it as like a rough patch, right? That's the part that you use. You stimulate those parts with the ridge around the head of your penis. And you do that in a very similar motion than to what you would do if you were stimulating a woman's G spot with your finger, right? Which is like this kind of motion, right? Like this. You want to do that type of motion with the head of your penis. So you go in past the G spot and you pull back in. Like, so let's just say that this part right here, my little knuckle right here is the ridge. It's like this. You're doing that on the spot, and that stimulates it. Women have sex toys that do this exact same thing. They put it in and it's a little thing and it goes back and forth like this on that spot. It's like stimulating the fingers, doing the exact same thing. You're just using the ridge of your penis to do that on that spot. And you can go back and forth like this, which is great, but it's even better if you do like it's so weird to explain this, but it's like not necessarily a thrust like you're pushing in, but kind of like you're squeezing in, and like a serpentine motion, kind of like this. Like you're trying to, it's almost like this. Like you would kind of do like the same motion as if you were hula hooping, I guess. That's the best way I can describe it. But you're going around like this. So like I said, this is the ridge of the head. This is the band, the G spot or the A spot band. You're doing this. That's the best way I can describe it. Does that make sense? Like this? Is that visible? So that's what you would be doing. So it's like, that's the spot. You're doing like this. You're going around in a circle like this. Right? So you're making the ridge of your head hit that part and you're going around in a circle like this. That's what you're doing. As you do this, you will specifically, we're talking about the A spot. You can do that with the G spot too. That's all great. When you do this with the A spot, what happens is you do that, like you hit the G spot first to open the A spot. You know when you'll feel, and she'll probably pull you in once she's ready for that. And then you get to that spot, and then you hit like this, and I lie to you not, there will be an instant reaction to that, and you'll notice you're doing it right. So you do this on that spot back there, like you found it with your finger, you figured out where that should be about, and then you aim for that with your penis, right? And then you stimulate that spot right there. As you do that, this spot is going to close up, and the area inside of here is going to be like this part closes and this part closes behind it. So let's say this part was like this, right? And then as you do that, it closes like that. You're winding up until it closes. That's literally how it happens. It's like when you stick your finger in a shirt and you twist it until it's stuck in there like a Chinese finger trap. That's what it's like. It, boom, gets stuck like that. And that's when that same ridge, it's in and out of that ridge like that. It continues to do that. The more you do that and the tighter it gets, the better. And then you go in, kind of like a hard thrust, but not to the point where you're trying to puncture a woman's stomach or her pelvis. You're just doing that to reach the back of the vagina. They're very soft. At this point, it's very soft, engorged with blood, it's very moist back there. You boom, like that, one, boom, and then you hold. And while you hold, you're still pressing. And then you hold, and then you wait. And then you push a little more, and then you wait. And then you push a little more, and then you wait. And you'll either hear her building or she won't be building, but she'll still be feeling something. If it doesn't tip over, if she doesn't tip over and spill into an orgasm, you repeat the process. Back to this spot, circle motion, tightens, in, using the ridge to stimulate that spot, right? And then in, and you hold. In, and you hold. So that's what you do. In, hold, push, like grind into it, hold, hold, hold. And I mean, it's literally like this much space that you're doing this in. So it's not like a boom, boom, though you can. Once that part gets like this, of course you'll figure it out. Like as you go, you'll get your own rhythm or whatever it is, but that's basically how it works. And once it's that way for good. You just continue to do that and it'll repeat the process every single time. Every single time. Every single time. So when I tell you that this is a targeted technique, that this is not like the last one where I wasn't 100% sure, you know, where the spot is, or I know that the back is for grinding and it would happen. But this, I mean, is a deliberate technique. It is a deliberate method. You are doing this with intention. Once you use your finger, you know, cut your fingernails, wash your hands, do all that stuff. Use your finger, go in there, about 2 or 3 inches in, you feel that rough spot. Go in a little further, you're gonna feel another rough spot. If you might go in far enough and you'll feel like a little tab in the back. That is the tip of the cervix that sticks out. Right around this area, you should feel another rough spot. And it's smooth here, rough, smooth. This part is literally like a band. And as you stimulate it, tightens and tightens, and it makes, and then you hold, and then typically what ends up happening is when you do it, when it gets like, cause it tightens and everything, and that's enjoyable for the woman too. It's great. And then when you get it, it's like her thighs become vice grips and they tighten up on you, and it almost pushes you out, as if to say, don't do this to me, but it just like pushes you out, right? So that's kind of how you know this, the thighs clamp and get really, really tight. And if like the woman has never experienced this before, then she may actually tell you to stop, because it's like overwhelming and she doesn't know what she's going to do with herself next, or how she's going to handle what's about to happen. And that's no exaggeration. That's really how it happens. And it's not something that a lot of women experience, because a lot of women aren't, you know, like most men don't know about this technique. A lot of women, when I say, you know about the A spot, they say, well, what's the A spot? So it's not something that a lot of people know. But I honestly think that this is the type of information that could change the world, the relationship between men and women. You know, how a lot of women, it's like they want to be as sexually free as men, but the problem is good dick doesn't come as easy as good vagina. So it's a gamble every time, right? So I can understand now why women get so upset when they lose that situation that they had with that good penis or whatever. And yeah, so it's basically, I think that this can make the world a better place. Women can actually enjoy sex as opposed to pretending like they're enjoying sex, and can enjoy sex as much as men enjoy sex. That's my little thing. But yeah, so that is the end of the video. Of course, any comments, concerns, feedback, additional questions, if I wasn't as descriptive or whatever as I should have been, then just let me know, and I'll try to help you out in the comments on that. So this has been a long time coming. I apologize to everyone for how long it took to make this video. I really didn't know people wanted it that bad, and I wasn't sure if my new followers would be with it, and I've really been in this political bag, so it was hard for me to find a space to kind of fit this in there, no pun intended. But yeah, like I said, comment section, let's talk, let's discuss this. The A-spot video has been completed. All right, I'll holler at y'all in the next one. All right, peace.